Okay, so we were taking up indicators of economic development. So any doubt, whatever we have discussed till now? Okay, so we were taking up indicators of economic development. So any doubt, whatever we have discussed till now? Okay, so we have discussed among indicators, HDI we have discussed, Human Development Index, and second we were taking up inequality adjusted HDI. So what is inequality adjusted HDI? It is actually based on the same three dimensions of HDI, but it accounts for inequalities in the three dimensions. So more inequality, more discount we will make. For example, first dimension, as I told you, is health, and here the index is LEI. So we will calculate what? Inequality adjusted LEI. Second, like knowledge, for knowledge we have education index, and now inequality adjusted education index. Other is standard of living, and that is GNI index. So it is inequality index adjusted GNI index, GI. So as I told you, okay, more inequality in a dimension, more discount we will make in that. So it considers inequalities in a particular dimension. As I told you, the value of India, for example, in LEI is 0.751, and value is here 0.5 something. So why actually we have made discount? Because everybody don't live exactly same years. Variation is there, and variation means more variation, more discount we have to make. Okay, so how we make discount? And if there is no inequality, then its value will be same. Okay, let us suppose this is for India, and there is a country, let us suppose ABC country, where life expectancy is same. Let us suppose 68.8 years in India and this country both. So it will be what? 0.571. So what should be this? If there is no inequality, everybody lives exactly this year, then it will be same. Okay, no discount. Now how discount is made? So discount is made through Atkinson method. So Atkinson method. So discount is made by Atkinson as per Atkinson method. So how discounting is made? So method is very simple. So you know, inequality adjusted dimension index. D I am writing for dimension index. So this is actually dimension index. So will be equal to what? It is equal to GM upon AM into dimension index. Okay, so GM upon AM into dimension index. For example, so GM upon AM into dimension index. For example, if we will discuss for country ABC. For country ABC, if let us suppose we'll calculate this inequality adjusted LEI, then it should be equal to what? GM upon AM into LEI is how much? 0.751. Okay, so LEI for this country is, this is arithmetic mean or geometric mean? 68.8 years. This is AM GM. Simply it is average arithmetic mean. So 68.8 years. 68.8. So this is actually arithmetic mean normally. Now in this country, everybody lives exactly same number of years. We have assumed it, although practically not possible. So if everybody lives exactly same number of years, then this GM will be more or less. More or less, everybody lives exactly same. If all numbers are same, AM, GM are same. So 68.8. So what is value of this? Same. 68.8 divided by 68.1. So when you multiply one by any number, it will be same. So what is inequality at LEI? Same. Clear? Now if we will calculate for India, so GM in India will be more or less? Lesser, because variations are there. So if it is less, then this number will be more than 1, less than 1, less than 1, maybe 0.8. If you multiply any number by less than 1, this number will reduce. So more inequality, lesser this, and more reduction in value. Clear? So maybe 0.8, if you multiply 0.8 into 0.7, it will be around 0.5 something. Okay, so in this method, discounting is made. Okay, so I repeat once more what I've dictated. It accounts for inequalities in the 3 dimensions of HDI by discounting each dimension's value according to its inequality. More inequality, more discount we have to make. So Atkinson method is used for this. Although formula is not very important, this concept is important. So overall, which is better, HDI or IHDI? IHDI. And it is considering which inequality, interdimensional one to another, or intra within same dimension. More inequality, more discount we have to make. More inequality in education, more discount here. So it is, can we say, sensitive to intradimensional inequality? Let's suppose if I say intradimensional inequality, and other is interdimensional inequality, HDI and IHDI. So what about HDI? HDI considers intradimensional equality, yes or no? No. It is based on average only. Does it consider interdimensional equality? Yes. Why? Because of GM. This is because of GM. Geometric mean we have changed from 2010. Okay. And what about IJ? Is it sensitive to intradimensional? Yes. And because of which thing interdimensional? Because of, as per Atkinson method. Clear? This is as per Atkinson method. Now, is it sensitive to interdimensional equality, inequality in this and this? Yes, because of GM. It is also GM, and because of Atkinson method this. So can we say it is sensitive to intradimensional as well as interdimensional inequality? So both inequalities are considered. Intradimensional, because of this, more inequality, more discount will make within a particular dimension. So HDI is based on only what average value, this one. Inequalities are not considered in a particular dimension. So overall, which is supposed to be better? IHDI, because obviously inequalities will also affect level of development. Clear? What do you think value of IHDI should be higher or lesser? For example, I told you for India. For India, HDI value is how much? 0.640. IHDI value should be higher or lower than this? Lower, obviously lower. So can we say it should be 0.468 was IHDI value? So can we say it should be lower for every country? Yes or no? Yes, why not? So it has to be lower for every country. It will be lower. Because is it possible that everybody lives exactly same year? Is it possible that everybody should be going to school for same year and income of everybody will be same? No, certainly inequalities are bound to be there. So it will always be lesser. And what was our rank? Actually, they have given not absolute but relative rank. So relative actually means कि HDI rank minus IHDI rank. So it was -1. So it means that it was better or worse as compared to HDI rank. It was rather worse, one worse. Okay, so actually why relative rank? Because it was not calculated for all countries. I think about 120 or 130 countries. So our rank was actually worse as compared to HDI. Okay, so -1 means it may be, let us suppose if the countries could be same, then our rank would be like 189 countries are there. So our rank was how much? 130 out of 189 countries. If same countries could be there, so probably our rank will be 131. So it is actually HDI rank 130 minus 131. Okay, so this is means minus 1. But countries were not 130. So this is actually rank. So it means that inequalities are on higher side or lower side in India, somewhat higher side. That is why rank is somewhat poor. This is actually rank means HDI rank minus IHDI rank. Okay, HDI minus HDI for selected country. Okay, any doubt? Okay, other I told you okay, in human development report, how many indices are published? 5. HDI, then IHDI, then MPI, and GII, uh, GII and GDI. Okay, so briefly I will discuss some other indices also. Okay, so MPI I will discuss with poverty, because multinational poverty index. So I will compare with the estimation of poverty in India. So separately I will discuss along with poverty. Now I will discuss some gender indices. GII. GII means gender related, so gender inequality index. As per this, or rather I will put in the heading like gender related indices. Gender related indices, one is gender inequality index. As I give you data, this was introduced in 1990, these three were in 2010, and this was in 2014. Okay, although exact data is not important, just for reference, I'm giving you data. So as the name says, gender inequality index. So what it measures? Obviously, gender inequality, difference between male and female. More difference, rank will be better or worse? Worse, poor rank. Actually, more differences, poor will be the rank. So just mention that it measures gender disparities. It measures gender disparities in respect of the following dimensions. It measures gender disparities in respect of the following dimensions. It measures gender disparities in respect of the following dimensions. Dimensions and indicators. So indicators are not very important, just for idea. One is maternal health. Maternal health. Maternal health is measured by maternal mortality rate. And one more indicator, adolescent fertility rate, but indicators are not important. So maternal mortality rate means what? A death of women at the time of childbirth. So out of 1 lakh childbirth, how much women die? So higher the maternal mortality rate means poorer the condition. And adolescent fertility rate also. Okay, name is only dimensions are sufficient. Because we will discuss 3 more indices related to gender. So other are more important than this. So only idea ke just dimensions. Other is empowerment. Empowerment is based on 2 indicators here. One is based on male and female MPs. Is what percentage of MPs are male, what percentage are female? Okay, only member of parliament. So more difference means lesser. So it measures political empowerment. So they have considered only member of parliament, not other levels. Other is male and female population having at least having at least secondary education, having at least secondary education. Male and female population having at least secondary education. Secondary means up to at least 12th or higher. So what percentage of male and what percentage female? And other is labor market. Labor market indicator is male and female labor force participation rate. Male and female labor force participation rate. So what percentage of male are in labor force and what percentage of female are in labor force. Okay, and more difference means lesser should be ranked. So labor force participation rate. Okay, so what is important means what is just only dimensions. So it measures gender disparities in terms of maternal health, empowerment, and labor market. That is sufficient. Only idea is more than sufficient. And our rank was 127 out of 152 countries. But as I told you, the data is not important. This will change. Maybe in 1 month or 2 months, new report will be published. So I'm giving you data as per Human Development Report 2018, HDR 2018. So maybe within 1 or 2 months, probably new reports, 19 report will be available. So then data will change. Okay, so only this sufficient case. It measures gender inequality and these 3 dimensions. That is sufficient. Another index is GDI. So GDI. So second, as per this, we are talking about gender indices in this classification. So GDI stands for Gender Related Development Index. So it also measures, obviously, as the name says, gender inequality. But why here dimensions should be related to which one? HDI. The dimensions are related with HDI. So it is very similar to HDI. Or just directly write down its value. So it measures gender disparities in respect of the 3 dimensions of HDI. Okay, so what is GDI? So GDI is what we do, we'll calculate HDI separately for male and separately for female. And this value of HDI, GDI is actually HDI female and HDI male. So GDI is equal to HDI male, female divided by HDI male. So separately we will calculate HDI for female and HDI for male. Okay, so it measures gender disparities in respect of the 3 dimensions of HDI, that is education, health, knowledge, and standard of living. So measure gender disparities in the 3 dimensions of HDI. Clear? And how it is calculated? So one minor difference is that in calculation, let's suppose if we will calculate HDI female. So you know, when we calculate HDI female, it is based on 3 things. One is health, and education or knowledge, rather knowledge. Even earlier they used to write education, now knowledge, and other is standard of living. Okay, and here values I told you is 20 years to 85 years. And here in case of knowledge, it is 0 to 15, 0 to 18. Okay, so here this is same, no change. Here there is a change. In case of, normally life expectancy of male is higher or female is higher in the world? Female is higher in the world. Average, on an average, how many years female live longer than male? How many years? Around 5 years. So this has to be changed or not? For example, in case of HDI male, okay, like these indicators, so for health, it is 20 to 85. So shall we keep the same or change this? Change. So what they did, they have added 2.5 years. They have added 2.5 years in this and subtracted 2.5 years from here. So it means that it will be 2 plus 2.5, we will add in minimum maximum value. So 22.5 to 87.5, and here 17.5 to 82.5. So they have made a difference of 5 years in minimum maximum value. Yeah? So female actually live longer, so that is why 5 years on an average. So that is why this has to be changed or not. And what about in India? Life expectancy, male is more or female is more? Female is more. So about how much? Around 3 years more. So, but actually world average is how much? 5 years, and we have reduced it to 3 years by discrimination. So we have been successful in reducing the gap of 5 years to 3 years. Clear? So in India, the gap is actually not 3 years because of discrimination. Okay, so got the point here? So this is how it is estimated. Other things are same. So HDF for female and this ratio. So what do you think value of this for India should be approximately how much? Less than 1, obviously. So value was about 0.8 something, but exact value, as I told you, is not important. Okay, 0.8, and it is high or low? It is actually rather low because world average was 9.9 something. So, and our rank was too low, 151 out of 161 countries. So our rank was very low here, 151 out of 161 countries. And countries were classified in 5 categories. So India was in the least category because our rank was quite low. Its value was actually even low. So GDI, this is actually GDI value 0.8 something. So rank was too low. Now in means, earlier one question was asked. Earlier there was actually there were 2 indices, were there, GDI and GEM. So earlier GDI was slightly different, and GEM is gender empowerment measure. So UNDP in Human Development Report 2 indices were published, GDI and GEM. So they have asked both measure gender disparities. So what is difference? Why UNDP introduced another concept? And this question may be asked, this was already there to measure gender inequalities. Why another index was introduced by UNDP? If GDI was already, GI was already there in 2010, so why it was introduced? Can you tell me difference between the two? If both measure gender disparities, so what is difference between the two? Yes, they have different dimensions. So both measure gender disparities, but in different dimensions. So there could be various dimensions. Okay, so what kind of dimensions are covered here in this GI? It covers mainly which discrimination in respect of which broad thing? Can we say in terms of empowerment of women related to empowerment or participation? Participation of women, to what extent women are participating in society? So, or to what extent we have given opportunities to women? Okay, empowerment or participation. So, to what extent women are discriminated in participation, etc. And here it is in respect of this thing. Health, education, standard of living is shows which thing? Can we say basic amenities? Yes, basic amenities. To what extent women are deprived or discriminated in basic amenities like education, health, and standard of living? And here it measures to what extent women are participating in society. Clear? So both measure gender disparities, but in different dimensions. This is the difference. And why rank is so much varies? Because dimensions are different. Which discrimination is easier to overcome? In case of empowerment or basic? Which is easier for us to overcome? Which discrimination could be relatively easier? Basic amenities is very difficult. This is much easier. Why? Government policies could be more effective in which one? Like government may reserve seats in parliament, government may do reservation jobs, education institutions for women. So this is much easier as compared to this one. Now, what is reason of this? Can we say reason for this is lack of infrastructure, like schools and hospitals are not there? That is why our rank is too low. Yes or no? No. If school is not there, it is not for boy also. What the point? Why boy child is going to school and why girl child is not going? So it is because of which factor? Social, not stigma, social factors actually. So because of the social factors, actually socio-cultural factors, the reason, patriarchal nature of society, etc. This is the reason is social. So to overcome this discrimination, we have to change the mindset of people. So it will take time, or can it be done quickly? It will take time. It may take generations actually to change. So and this year government measures relatively will be more effective. I think clear. So we have to create awareness among people. And but are they both interrelated or not? Yes. Why people discriminate against girl child? Because they think I won't be dependent on girl child. But boy, if boy will not be educated, etc., so who will take care of me in old age, etc.? This is the thing. But if women will be actually working, will be means acquiring high positions, then people will also think, okay, the girl child can also help me in old age, or can be matter of my respect in society. So this is the reason. So this, if this empowerment will increase, this discrimination will also reduce. So both are, all these are interrelated actually. If this basic amenities of women will they are educated, healthy, then the participation score will increase. Things are interrelated, but overall it is relatively easier. That is why our rank is somewhat not so bad as compared to this one. Clear? Okay, so these are two indices which are published in Human Development Report. Now I will discuss few more gender related indices. Like one gender related index is the global gender gap index. Which organization publishes this index? World Economic Forum. WEF, World Economic Forum. Global Gender Gap Index, published by World Economic Forum, WEF. So it was asked in prelims last year, okay, which institution publishes this Global Gender Gap Index? So obviously answer is World Economic Forum. So earlier I give you who publishes these indices, these two, UNDP, because these are under Human Development Report. So UNDP publishes these, and this is by World Economic Forum. And what are components? Components or dimensions may be used interchangeably. In some indices they use the word component, somewhere dimensions, somewhere pillars. So different terms may be used. So here components or dimensions. One is the health and survival. Survival like life expectancy, etc., child mortality. So health and survival. Second is educational attainment. Educational attainment. And obviously here male and female, more gap, lesser rank. Other is economic participation. Economic participation, like in labor force employment. Other is political empowerment. Political empowerment. So based on these four components. And on this, our rank was how much? Our rank was 108 out of 149 countries. So almost similar, you know, rank is not satisfactory, it's quite low. So gender disparities are much wider in India. And on which our rank was best? Our rank was relatively best, means least discrimination was in which aspect? What do you think in India? Health and survival was least, means almost on bottom. I think 140 something, 142 or 7. So this is least in political empowerment. It was 19th rank. So situation is best in political empowerment. So situation is much worse in health and to some extent in economic participation also. So worst in health and then also in 140s in health as well as in economic participation in 140s. Okay, so in here it is best political empowerment. Now, out of these indices, which is broader? Out of these three, which one is broader? Mhm. Global Gender Gap Index. Why? Because it is basically based on empowerment and here basic amenities. Here both things are there: health, education, just like in HDI, and even economic, political participation. Just so this is relatively broader. So usually this question is asked whether actually which organization publishes or a component normally. And recently one more index was introduced. Now fourth index is SDG, Gender Index. SDG means Sustainable Development Goals. So how many goals have been put? 17 goals. So in the end of this chapter, we will discuss Sustainable Development Goals. 17 socio-economic, demographic, etc. goals have been fixed, which are to be achieved at global level. So this index actually obviously will be measuring SDG Gender Index. Can you guess what should be there? Gender disparities. Gender index means gender disparities will be measured, but in which aspect? In terms of the SDGs. Okay, so actually it was developed by Equal Measures. Equal Measures 2030. So it is actually an organization. Equal Measures is the name of organization which is established by some international agencies, including Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation and some other regional international organizations. So few organizations have established this Equal Measures 2030. So developed by Equal Measures. So this is organization. So it is developed by Equal Measures 2030. And this organization is created by certain international organizations and like including Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation. Okay, so it measures what? It measures gender disparities in respect of 14 of the 17 SDGs. So mention this thing only. It measures gender disparities in respect of the 14 out of 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. 14 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Okay, for example, in education, health, work, etc. So disparities in 14 goals out of 17 goals, so inequality. And what was rank of India? Rank of India was 95 out of 129 countries. But as I told you, by the time you will be writing prelims, I will update these because most of the report maybe some report will change. Okay, so these are gender indices. So indices which measure gender disparity. Okay, so you should have idea about the organization and the components of index. So here SDGs we will discuss actually in the end of this chapter. Okay, so we have discussed this gender related indices. Now other indices are actually like psychological well-being related indices. So other now categories: psychological well-being, psychological well-being related indices. Psychological well-being means like Happiness. Happiness is a state of mind or being content, being satisfied. Okay, so which was the first index to measure happiness? Which country? Bhutan. So what is the name of index? Huh. Uh, Gross National Happiness, GNH. Gross National Happiness. So gross national happiness. So just mention that it was developed by the fourth king of Bhutan in 1972. Fourth king of Bhutan in 1972. Okay, yes, only idea is sufficient. Okay, so king of Bhutan or simply Jigme Singha Wangchuk, but name is not important. Jigme Singha Wangchuk was the king, but not important name. Okay, and what are pillars? So it is based on 4 pillars. As I told you, in some indices they say it is a component, somewhere dimension, somewhere pillars. So based on 4 pillars. So first pillar is sustainable socio-economic development. Sustainable socio-economic development. So sustainable socio-economic development. Second pillar is good governance. So governance is also important, like delivery of public services, transparency, less corruption. So governance, so it affects actually psychological well-being or happiness. Other is conservation of environment. Conservation of environment. So even environment affect even mood also, health obviously. Other is preservation of cultural values. So cultural values are also important or not for psychology? Yes, if people think their cultural values are being eroded, it is also a matter of discontent. And but it will vary from culture to culture. So these actually they have made the indicators based on the Buddhist cultural values. So it will vary from society to society. So it was based on various economic, social, demographic, and environmental, psychological variables. Actually. Okay, so but it is not very important. Just you should remember this only. The importance is that it was the first initiative to measure this happiness. And but data is not important because it is used only in Bhutan, so not actually in India or world. So data is as such not important. So I think in mains one question was asked, as a rather essay was asked, GDP and GNH uh, are measures of economic development. I don't remember exact words. So it was essay actually. GDP, GNH, measure of economic development. So what you have to write in that essay? GDP and GNH. So overall, if you what should be your conclusion? Are they satisfactory overall indicators or not? GDP and GNH. Yes or no? GDP and GNH. Overall, yes or no? By and large, yes or no? By and large, no. Means to some extent. So what you have to write in that? This was an essay, so you have to write several pages. It is just not just this. So what would you write? Would you do you have to write about HDI also, other indices also or not? Yes, in essay, first of all, you have to mention what is economic development. Okay, growth, development, basic concepts of development you should explain at least. Economic development, there is dimensions you should elaborate: social, political, cultural, environmental, etc. Okay, then you should mention what is GDP. Basic, even including starting from definition, value, goods, service produced. Then what GDP shows? It shows size of economy. It does not show as such welfare. But and growth of GDP shows what? It shows the rate of progress of an economy, economic growth. Okay, size and progress. But actually GDP, although if GDP will be higher, then obviously national income will be higher, probably per capita income will be high. depending on a population. So it may reflect a standard of living, considering population, but not as such. Okay, which I told you already. Then you should mention the why it is not a very good indicator. You can mention the reasons I told you already in that net economic welfare as well as in per capita income is not a good indicator. Similar points you can mention about GDP. What it reflects, what it does not reflect. GDP reflects what? The size of economy. GDP will be increasing, that growth must be high. So chances are that the level of well-being will improve, but there is no guarantee. Okay, when growth will be high, so level of well-being is expected to improve or not? Yes, and if GDP will be high, then chances are that the per capita income may be high, which shows standard of living. But and what are flaws? But it is not a good indicator of development. Why not indicator? Because lot of all the points which I told you. Then you should mention something about this measure. What it measures? Psychological well-being. Because development has actually psychological, socio-cultural aspect. So it measures various. It is relatively better or not? Yes, it is much better. It has various dimensions. It has based on around 33 indicators. So based on actually various indicators, various governance indicators. So you should mention this and you should somewhat elaborate that. Okay, just like what socio-economic development means, socio-economic factors, poverty, unemployment, inequalities, per capita income, etc. These variables are there. Good governance actually like administrative aspects, corruption, transparency, etc. These aspects which have a bearing on well-being. Environment is obviously important for health and other, even for psychological well-being, and cultural factors are also means important for happiness, state of mind. Because so you have to just briefly elaborate this and should mention relatively it is better, but is it actually what is flaw mainly in this? One thing is that it is psychological variable. So can we measure with precision? No. So psychological variables cannot be measured with precision. How much happy you are? Can we measure this exactly? This much percentage increase, decrease, or this much units happy? So measurement issue is in measurement actually, because there is subjectivity in assessment. And then you should say it is a good indicator, but it is not a perfect indicator. Why? Because it is not possible to include all dimensions of human economic development or welfare in a single indicator. So what should be the approach? We should use other indicators which measures other aspects of human well-being. Like then you should mention about HDI. Okay, you can mention about gender disparity indices, deprivation indices like MTI. So briefly you can mention this. So I think what the point here? So because in essay you have to elaborate. In means you have to be very pinpointed. What is asked accordingly exactly you have to write. In essay you have to explore various dimensions. Clear? Okay, so this is gross national happiness. But another at world level, one report is published relating to happiness. Which report? World Happiness Report. World Happiness Report. So which organization publishes this? So one agency of UN. So mention this thing. It was developed by its World Happiness Report and Index. So it was developed by United Nations, UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network. UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, developed by UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, UNSDSN, Sustainable Development Solutions Network, SDSN, in 2012. So developed by UNSDSN, Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Okay, so developed by UNSDSN, and in 2012 actually. And what are actually components to just mention? Components of the report. One is real per capita income. So in happiness, even income is also important. The goods and services access you have, it will affect psychological well-being. Other is healthy life expectancy. healthy life expectancy, because it shows even if a country is having higher life expectancy, then chances are that the people will be relatively healthy. So most probably less stress, less problem, healthy life expectancy. And these are also there in which index? In HDI also. Other is social support. So social support. So social support means, that is mentioned this, that is having someone to count on. Having someone to count on. Having someone to count on. So what is meaning of this, having someone to count on? Actually, this is measured by, like just like opinion surveys are conducted. So data means people have to rank between 0 to 10 scale. So for example, like they will go to any person, they will ask you to what extent you think you have social support. So if you think don't have any social support, like don't have any social support means if a person think don't have social support means nobody is supporting me, everybody is selfish, so nobody bothers about anybody, parents, friends, everybody is actually selfish, nobody bothers about anything. So that person may put lower score, maybe 1, 2, 0. Okay, and other person may be highly optimistic, okay, entire world is very good, everybody is there behind me. And so then person may put 8, 9 or 10. So depend on actually what you think you are having social support. That is also important actually. Human beings are social, so they cannot live in seclusion. So, and this data is collected by one organization, one American company, which collect actually such kind of data for various companies, etc. Opinion surveys are conducted. Which company? That company is Gallup Incorporation. Gallup Incorporation, Gallup Inc. So this is a US firm which collect actually data, which is having specialization in data collection in opinion surveys, etc. So Gallup Incorporation collect data for this type of data, means relating to opinion surveys. Gallup INC means incorporation. Okay, next is other is, fourth is perceived freedom. Perceived freedom to make life choices. Perceived freedom to make life choices. Life choices means some important decisions of life. Do you think you have the freedom to take important decisions of your life? So is it also important or not? You can take decisions, you have some control over your life. So here also again this is a pure psychological variable. So it depends on your perception. So they will ask you, to what extent you can think you can take important decisions of your life. So 0 to 10 scale like this. Yeah, so important decisions of life, to what extent you have say. If let us suppose your family has given you almost full permission that you can take any decision regarding to your career, etc., any life, any important decision or anything, so then you will put higher score. But if you need for minor things, you need permission from parents or grandparents. Without this, you can't do anything. So then it means that value should be low. Other is freedom from corruption. Freedom from corruption. So corruption is also important or not? Like this corruption is more than it is important for well-being. If corruption be more, then obviously it lead to harassment of people and grudges, stress. So it is related with governance actually. That is governance also mentioned. That is governance. So mainly, but they have mentioned as such corruption, but mainly related with governance. And last is generosity. Generosity. Generosity means being plentiful. Being plentiful. So being plentiful means, what do you think? Do you have enough things or not? It's a perception. Do you have enough material things or not? In Hindi, it is called actually like संपन्न होने की भावना. ये और जैसे समटाइम पीपल आस्क इनफॉर्मली कि भाई ठाकुर साहब ठीक हैं, हाँ हाँ भगवान का दिया सब कुछ है. तो मतलब जो ये है कि भगवान का दिया सब कुछ है मीन्स कि वी हैव इनफ एक्चुअली मटेरियल थिंग्स. सो इट्स अ psychological, not physical thing कि how much I have. Some person may be much well off but may think what I have. So this is the feeling of कि I am having enough things or not, material things or not. So this is generosity. So well-being, happiness depends on this also or not? Yes. So these are actually 6 components, and there are various indicators to measure this social, psychological, economic, political, governance related. Various actually components are there. So this is so. But usually, what is important? Who publishes this and the components? You should have an idea. And our rank was in this. Our rank was 140 out of 156 countries. And our rank has been deteriorating actually consistently in the last 5-6 years, 5 years at least. So last year it was 133. Before that it was 122. Before that 118. Before that 111. So rank has been consistently deteriorating. And our rank is even below, means just Afghanistan and maybe I think one more country is below India in entire Asia. So we are even Bhutan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, all are above India. So just only I think 2 countries are there most probably. One is Afghanistan and one is one more country in Asia which is below India. Otherwise, we are among bottom in the Asia. So our rank is too low and further deteriorated on this. Okay, so what do you think? Which one is more important? Like improving our rank on HDI should be a priority, or improving rank in this World Happiness Report? Both, yes, both are related obviously. So which should be a priority of a nation in general? What should be, I'm saying, it is subjective thing, improving rank in HDI or this? What should be a higher goal for any society? HDI, improving HDI or improving this rank? Which will you consider to be major achievement? Happiness or HDI? Happiness. This is ultimate larger goal should be this for any society, because ultimately, you know, material things don't matter beyond certain level. So if let us suppose person have lot of you know, money, lot of rich person, but maybe frustrated, there may be some tussles in family, etc. So person may have stress. So ultimately that is not very useful thing. People should be happy. That is most important thing. So this should be, I think, larger goal for society. But if we talk about authenticity, so which will be more authentic, HDI rank or this rank? HDI, because here subjectivity is there. There is a lot of subjectivity, because today a person may put maybe on higher side, but tomorrow, like on, for example, perceived freedom to make life choices, there may be some argument yesterday regarding any important issue, then person may put 0. Yeah, I don't have anything, so I can't decide. So this mood may fluctuate actually. Or like on social support, there may be some argument with a friend and then score may go down. So this actually depends on moods also. So this is slightly more subjective and relatively less authentic as compared to HDI. Okay, so overall, both aspects are important actually. This is psychological, it is more important, but problem is in subjectivity, is more in this as compared to HDI. So what is best thing? So shall we use both or anyone? Obviously both, because HDI does not consider social, psychological variables, which are very important actually, and it considers that. But problem is that case relatively subjectivity is more here, so authenticity will be relatively less in this. Okay, other indexes, deprivation related indices. Deprivation related indices. One index I told you, which index? Multidimensional poverty index, MPI. But as I told you, I will discuss in poverty management, because I have to correlate with the poverty estimation by India, by World Bank. So then I will take up this multidimensional poverty index. So it is long also relatively. So I will discuss in detail with poverty estimation next chapter. And one more very famous index released just I think 2 days back, Global Hunger Index. GHI, Global Hunger Index. So it is published by which agency? No, not WHO. No, not FAO. Actually, earlier there was a organization IFPRI. So IFPRI. But now, since last 2 years, it is actually not associated with this public journal report. IFPRI means International Food Policy, not FAO. International Food Policy Research Institute. International Food Policy Research Institute. International Food Policy Research Institute. But it has withdrawn from the last 2 years. It is not actually publishing this report. It is not actually the partner in publishing the report. Earlier it was there. Now main two organizations are there. One is Concern Worldwide. So it is name of organization Concern Worldwide, and Ireland's organization Concern Worldwide. Another is Welthunger, WELTHUNWELT. WELTHUNGER So Welthungerhilfe. So it is a German organization. So German name WELTHUNGERHILFE. Welthungerhilfe. So these two organizations are still there. This is actually recently in the last two, this report and last year's report, this organization was not involved. So now it is really currently not associated. So three organizations publish Global Hunger Index. And what are components of this? It is based on 4 components. One is undernourished population. Undernourished population. So what percentage of people are undernourished? So in India, what percentage of population is undernourished? Means calorie deficiency. 14 point? Around 14.5%. And world average is lesser. So I think around 12, approximately 12%. So undernourished population. Okay, so what is difference in hunger and poverty and undernourishment? Poverty means deprivation from basic needs, and hunger means deprivation from food, is not having food. So person, is it possible, may not be hungry but may be poor? Yes. But is it possible that person may be hungry but hungry means because of lack of money, then it means person is hungry. So it means that person must be poor. Okay, but not temporary. A rich person might be fasting, so we cannot say person will be poor. So if a person because of lack of money is hungry, then certainly will be poor. So which is major deprivation? Hunger. And what is undernutrition? Mainly calorie deficiency. Calorie deficiency may be due to hunger, or maybe due to, is it possible that a person may not be hungry but still may not get proper calories, may not get balanced diet, may be getting only one type of food only, which is not giving proper nutrition? Or even calorie deficiency could be there because of illness also. Body may not be able to absorb nutrients. So these could be reasons, but hunger is important reason actually for this. So in India, it is actually on higher side slightly. Other is child stunting. child stunting. So stunting means what? Low height for age. Low height for age. Low height for age. No, not weight. Low height for age. Low height for age, and it reflects what I also mentioned. It reflects chronic. It reflects chronic hunger. Chronic means what? Long term. Chronic means long term. It means that for several years, child may not be getting proper food. So what will happen? The height of child will remain short, somewhat reduced. Okay, so chronic hunger means for long term hunger for several years. And what percentage of children in India are suffering from this? Approximately. So like it is 14.5% here. It is in India. 37.9 means 38% about children are suffering from stunting. So situation is rather pathetic, we can say. 38% means close to 40% children are actually stunted. Other is child wasting. Child wasting. So wasting means low. Child wasting is low weight for height. Low weight for height. Low weight for height. So it reflects acute hunger. It reflects acute hunger. So because of acute hunger, normally this happens. So wasting, acute means what? Acute means severe. Severe hunger. Severe means for few days, child may get almost nothing to eat, just minimum for survival. For maybe 10, 15, 20 days, child may get only just minimum for survival. So what happens in that? Muscle start degrading, weight loss happens. So this is severe hunger. Acute means severe. May not be for very long term, but maybe for few days, child may not get almost negligible to eat. So then it will lead to muscle degradation and death. And what percentage of children suffered from this wasting? 20.8%. And what is worst thing is that this is maximum in the world. This is means child wasting is maximum of the world is in any countries in India, 20.8%. And child mortality. Child mortality. So child in all of these is under 5 in this 0 to 5 years. So 0 to 4 years means up to 5 years, means under 5 is child in all of these. Child mortality means out of 1,000 children born, how many are expected to die before reaching 5 years of age, or how many are dying before reaching 5 years? Child mortality. So how much child mortality? Last year it was 4.3%, or out of 1,043 children. It has somewhat reduced. So maybe 41, 42 should be there. So anybody remember data? I have not seen the data in latest report. Last year it was 43 and it has somewhat reduced. So maybe 41, 42 approximately. So child mortality in India is last year it was actually this 43 or 4.3% if we will express. So 43 out of 1,000. So it may be slightly less. So it has somewhat reduced. Although child wasting has increased in India. So 4-5 years back it was about 16%. Now it is about 21%. So it has increased child wasting. Okay, so based on these indicators, and they have given weightages, 1/3 weightage to this, 1/3 to this, and 1/3 divided into 2, 1/6, 1/6. Okay, but calculation is not so important, and value ranges between 0 to 100, 0 to 100%. So higher the value, more deprivation. So India's value was GHI value of India 30.3%. And countries are classified in 5 categories. So we were in actually which category? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because based on GHI value means that if it is actually less than 10, then we say it is less hunger, then moderate, 10 to 20 moderate, then 20 to 35, then serious, and 35 to 50 this, and more than 50 means alarming and seriously alarming, means extremely alarming. So India should be in 3rd category because it is 3rd category is serious. Okay, only idea is sufficient. So we were in serious category, and here it is ranges up to 35. So 20 to 35. So ours is this GHI value. Okay, and how it is exactly estimated? Weightage multiplied by undernourished population in India divided by the maximum undernourished population in any country plus weightage 1/6 multiplied by child standing in India divided by maximum of child standing in the world. Similarly like this. So if a country no child no such derivation is there, so everything will be 0. 1/3 multiplied by undernourished population 0, so it will be 0. Then 1/6 multiplied by this, if it is 0, 0, so minimum value will be 0, no deprivation. And if a country is having highest in the world, everything is highest, then 1/3 multiplied by undernourished population in this country and divided by maximum in the world. So both will be same one. So 1/3 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. So it will be 1 multiplied by 100, 100%. So value is between 0 to 100%. So higher the value, more deprivation. So India was in 3rd category. And what was our rank? 102. 117 countries. So our rank has improved or deteriorated. Last year, our rank was 103, but 103 out of 119 countries. Okay, and earlier 3 years back, our rank was 3 years back, it was about 87th. So in this, by and large, our rank has deteriorated. Okay, so our rank is deteriorated in this. So earlier it was 87th. Okay, then it is by and large deteriorating. Even last year it was 103 out of, I don't remember number of countries, but close to this 119 countries were there. So overall, you can see 2 countries reduced, but our rank improved one. So probably deteriorated actually. It was mentioned that rank deteriorated. So before that 100, last year it was 100 out of 119 countries. So before that it was around, I think, 87. So rank deterioration means in some cases there has been deterioration, like in child wasting there has been deterioration, but in other variables there is improvement in India. But overall, why overall rank is deteriorating? Because it is relative, and we will revisit this aspect actually in food security. In agriculture there is a topic, food security. So what is meaning of food security? So are we food secure? Yes or no? No, because food security means what? Can we say food security means elimination of hunger? No, even much beyond that. So food security will be achieved by a country if there will not be hunger. People will, it may be possible people may not be hungry but may be malnourished, may not proper nutrition. Yes, so this is, we have to eliminate hunger and malnutrition also, physical, economic access to food, and not now, in future also. Sustainability should also be there. So are we successful in eliminating hunger? No. Even we will discuss Millennium Development Goals. So we were not able to reduce hunger to half. So we marginally missed that target also of reducing hunger to half by 2015. So overall situation of food security is not satisfactory in the country. In which thing we have achieved? We have achieved self-sufficiency in food grains production. But production is one thing. Providing it to people, people are hungry because they don't have money to buy food. Production is enough, food grains production, but food grains production mainly, not everything's production. So we are actually far from food security. So we will discuss in food security. Okay, so this is means deprivation indices like multi-dimensional poverty index. Separately, I told you will discuss, and global hunger index. So in prelims last year, one question was asked on components. They have given all the 4 components. They have asked which of the following are components: 1, 2, all, or 3, or any 3. So obviously that was direct question. So all 3 were components of GHI. Okay, so these are some indices, important indices, and lot of other indices are there, but important we have discussed. Some other indices are also there which measure or maybe one or two we may say. So other indices, like one index is inclusive development index. Inclusive development index. So which organization publishes inclusive development index? That is WEF, World Economic Forum. So which index I have discussed? The other index is Global Gender Gap Index by World Economic Forum, and it is based on actually what are components or dimensions. One is growth and development. One component is growth and development. Other is inclusion. Inclusion like poverty, unemployment, inequalities, to what extent people are included in mainstream, poverty, unemployment aspect, social aspect mainly, inclusion. So growth and development, like growth in per capita income, GDP growth, etc., and inclusion, social factors. Other is intergenerational equity and sustainability. Intergenerational equity and sustainability. Intergenerational equity and sustainability. So it is obviously intergenerational equity is relating to environmental things. Intergenerational inclusion. Inclusion like reducing poverty, unemployment, inequalities. This is inclusion means mainly socio-economic variables are there in inclusion. To what extent people are included, they have access to basic amenities, they are not poor. So inclusion in employment, etc. Okay, and this is environmental aspect, I have pure economic aspect. So this is inclusive development index. Okay, so it is also relatively, can we say, more comprehensive, just like HDI, health education may be considered here in inclusion itself. So, and even environmental aspects are there, even it is, we can say, wider than even HDI. Okay, so it is relatively new, and India's rank was 62 out of 74 emerging market economies. So out of emerging market economies, so what are emerging market economies? Mainly developing countries which have adopted reforms, liberalization, privatization, globalization. So emerging market economies like India is mainly developing countries which have liberalized actual economy, which have adopted LPG policy, liberalization, privatization, globalization. But as I told you, what is important, you should know, you can just I have classified, so you can classify in various categories like gender related and other overall broad based, like other is like deprivation based indices. Some are actually this psychological well-being. So in different categories, you can have idea about which organization publishes and the components. And regarding data is not important at all now, because before prelims I will update data actually. So this you have to see data, because a lot of report will change by that time. You will write exam. So, but rough idea you should have where we stand. And one more basic thing we'll discuss here, that is classification of countries. How countries are classified. So countries are classified. First, I will discuss by UNDP. So UNDP must be classifying countries means by UNDP, or we can say as per UNDP rather, as per UNDP. So UNDP must be classifying countries on the basis of which thing? Any idea? Means country should be developed or underdeveloped like this on the basis of HDI value. Okay, so one first category is very high human development, and this is based on HDI value. If HDI value is at least 0.8 or more, then country will be placed in this category. Very high human development. Other is high human development. So between 0.7 to 0.8 high. Other is medium human development, to 0.55 to 0.7. And finally low human development, less than 0.55. So very high human development, high, medium, low. So if you see the statistical table of this in human development report, they classify countries in these 4 categories, like these number of countries, then second heading, then countries in this category. So India should be in which category? India should be in medium. Why? Because our value was how much? 0.640. So that is in this category. So we are in medium category. Okay, so this is, values are not important as such. So you should have idea that we are in medium human development category. And what is important here is as per UNDP, the countries which are in this first category, means whose HDI value is 0.8 or more, these countries are developed countries. And how many countries were there? 58 countries were there, which had value of HDI 0.8 or more. So as per UNO, how many, so UNDP, 58 countries are developed countries whose HDI value is there. Okay, so they have given only for developed, others will be developing. So this criteria seems to be somewhat satisfactory or not? To classify a country, developed country, underdeveloped country, HDI value. Because earlier UNO gave one definition for underdeveloped country. So UNO gave one definition for underdeveloped. Underdeveloped countries are the countries in which per capita real income is low when compared with the per capita real income of USA, Canada, Australia, and Western Europe. So now I'll repeat this definition. Underdeveloped countries are the countries in which per capita real income is low when compared with per capita real income of USA, Canada, Western means Australia and Western Europe. So is it satisfactory definition? No. Reason is that per capita income is a very good criteria. No, it does not show level of well-being as such. And second thing is very subjective definition. Low, how much low actually? So this is very subjective. Earlier, normally economists used to say countries which lacks development, like there is unemployment, poverty, low quality of life, they are underdeveloped. But is there any dividing line? Especially that is also very subjective. So they have given a dividing line. HDI value is 0.8 or more developed. So does it seem to be somewhat satisfactory? Yes, but can we consider it to be perfect? No, perfection is not possible, because how to assess actually where to draw a line? 0.8, why should be 0.8 or 0.9? So we have to take value judgment. But by and large, actually, it is means that quite satisfactory and practically also used. Clear? In classification, this is by UNDP. Second is because as per World Bank, so World Bank classifies countries on the basis of which criteria? Any idea? Per capita income, or more technically GNI per capita. So World Bank classifies countries in 4 categories. Low income countries, and based on what? GNI per capita. Okay, in simple word, we may call it per capita income. So based on per capita income, World Bank classifies countries in 4 categories. Now GNI per capita, it should be in market exchange rate or PPP? Should be PP, but actually World Bank is using market exchange rate. Okay, although PPP is better, but still World Bank is using market exchange rate. And if per capita income is less than dollar about 1000, so I'm giving you only approximate values. So here I'm not giving you exact value because not needed as such. So it is 1005 up to less than 1005, so low income, but not important 5, so just 1000, less than 1000. Other is lower middle. Lower middle income countries, that is dollar 1000 to 4000. So lower middle income countries, 1000 to 4000. Okay, so approximate data, but you need not record to remember data. Other is upper middle. Upper middle income countries. So around 4000 to 12,000. And high income countries, more than 12,000. More than 12,000. More than 12,000. So high income countries, more than 12,000. So India should be in which category? How much is the per capita income? You know, our per capita income, PCI, if you see in terms of rupees, is how much rupees? 1,26,000 approximately, 1,26,400 something. Okay, so 1,26,000. Now, but here we have to convert into dollar. To convert into dollar, what we need? We need an exchange rate. So here we can actually market exchange rate either we can use. The market exchange rate is how much? Around 70. And other is PPP exchange rate, that is $1 around 18. So it will be approximately how much when you divide by 70? So it will be around 2000. But 70 I've taken today's exchange rate. We have to see the in that particular year financial. So it was dollar, as per IMF it was $2000. Okay, and this is data of 2018. So the latest data for 2018 means January to December 2018. Our per capita, it will be close to 2000, means 1900 around. And if you divide by 18, its value will be more or less? More. So 7,900. So around 8,000. Why there is a difference in this and this? 2,000, 8,000, 4 times difference almost, because our exchange rate is too low here. Difference in the exchange rate. Okay, as I told you, I will discuss in detail. PPP I will discuss in detail, purchasing power parity, because it will take at least 1 hour. So market exchange rate PPP I will make a comparison. Okay, in third chapter rather, with demand and supply curves I will explain the difference. So here just I am giving you data. So this is we should be in which category now? Lower middle, because our per capita is 2000. So this is this. So it is 1 to 4000. So we are in lower middle. But we have put a target to make India in next 5 years a 5 trillion economy. So when by our economy will be 5 trillion, then probably we may be in the upper middle. Now our GDP is 2.7 trillion. So we will be close to this 4000 then. But that is GDP data. GDP divided by population. So 5 trillion divided by around 130. So then it will be around close to these 4000. Okay, so this is the classification as per World Bank. Okay, and we are in lower middle income country. Okay, other classification is actually, okay, in general we classify countries in, there is one more as per overall general, what is general classification? Countries are classified in three categories. What are three categories? Practically, which is used, one is developed countries. Second classification is developing countries or underdeveloped. Developing countries or underdeveloped countries means called UDCs, and also called third world countries. These are things. And one more classification, one more country, least developed country. So practically, which is used, this one. Now, overall, when we say global level, this is actually practical or general classification is this. So in IMF, WTO, World Bank, etc., countries are classified in these categories, and there are different norms for different countries. For LDCs, there are, so least developed countries means LDCs. So there are different norms for LDCs. The concessions are there for least developed countries in WTO, IMF loans, World Bank loans, etc. Okay, and different policies for this and develop for developed countries. Practically, this is used. Okay, so developing countries and underdeveloped countries are used interchangeably. So India is in which category? Developing country, obviously. So India is developing country and it may be called underdeveloped country. Although there should be distinction between this, but these terms are used interchangeably. Why called third world country? Not mixed economy. This term originated during Cold War. Earlier third world refers to NAM, non-alignment movement. After Second World War, world became bipolar. America, one superpower, another former USSR. So some countries were aligned with USA, some with USSR. But some countries did not want to join any bloc. So they made NAM, non-alignment movement. And all members of NAM were developing countries. But what happened in 1991, USSR disintegrated into 15 countries. And world became means unipolar, means America became superpower. So because USSR was actually disintegrated. So then relevance of NAM, non-alignment movement, increase or decrease after that? Decrease. So relevance of NAM decrease. Once NAM relevance decrease, then the term actually third world was earlier referred to NAM. Now after that it referred to this. Okay. So now when we say third world country, we mean underdeveloped country. Now it is a standard term for underdeveloped country. Okay, so I just give you idea about how from where it originated. So it originated from this Cold War, from NAM. Okay, so India is obviously in this category, third category. Now LDC. So what are LDCs? Who created this category? So mention now separately about LDC. Least developed countries. So it was created by one agency of UN. So which agency of UN? So mention this thing. This category was created by United Nations, by UN Economic and Social Council. UN Economic and Social Council. So in bracket UN ECOSOC, in short, UN ECOSOC in 1971. So UN Economic and Social Council, UN ECOSOC. Okay, so this criteria means this classification is created by this ECOSOC. And what is criteria? So criteria for LDC means which country will be put under this LDC category. So one first criteria is low income. Low income, and here low income means It should be as per which institution? As per World Bank. So low income country as per World Bank. Okay, same. Low income country as per World Bank. It should be in this category, first category. This per capita income should be about 1,000 or rather 1,005 up to $1,005. Okay, one criteria. Second criteria is human assets. Human assets index. Human assets index called HAI, and it is based on two things, on education and health. Education and health. So human assets index based on education and health. So index is constructed on the basis of the level of education and health in a country, and if the level is below certain index value is below certain level, then country will be in this category. Okay, but criteria how the index is constructed is not important. So if level of education health is low, then country will be under this category. Other is economic vulnerability. Economic vulnerability index. Economic vulnerability index. Economic vulnerability index. Economic vulnerability index. So economic vulnerability index. So economic vulnerability means economy should be vulnerable. Like example of vulnerability, it is based on various indicators like remoteness from sea, how far it is from sea, or in just one example, one or two, remoteness from sea. Remoteness from sea. Means how far it is from sea. Other is dependence on agriculture. So if a country is more dependent on agriculture, can we say it will be more vulnerable? Yes. Even actually natural calamities also, with persons suffering from natural calamities, population living in low-lying coastal areas like this. So vulnerability means like some environmental vulnerability, like natural calamities, etc. So vulnerability of economy. So based on these actually criteria, so only some idea is sufficient. Get this organization and three criteria relating to income, relating to education, health, and relating to vulnerability. Just idea is sufficient. Okay, details are not important. Just name is sufficient. So, and a country should conform to all three, then will be LDC. So how many countries are now LDC? So currently 47 countries are in this category. So 47 countries. And most of these countries must be in which continent? Africa. So obviously most of the countries are in Africa. And even Asian countries like even Bangladesh, Bhutan is also LDC. Nepal, Bangladesh I'm not sure, but Bhutan and Bhutan, Nepal, Afghanistan, etc. are LDCs. In Asia also some countries are LDCs. And most of them obviously are in Africa and some Latin American, etc. 47 countries are LDC. And if a country became LDC, can it graduate out from this? If a country became LDC, can it be graduated out from this or not? Yes, why not? It may develop, then why should remain LDC? Yes, but for graduating out, it has to overcome not one, it has to overcome two criteria. Any two, it has to overcome two. For becoming LDC, it should have all the three. But if one, it can overcome one, it will not overcome from this. It has to overcome at least two criteria. And graduation, and if you want to graduate out on the basis of only per capita income, then it should be double of the threshold. Double of threshold. Okay, and for becoming threshold is not 1005, it is around 20% more than the entry level. So it is actually not, it is about actually 1200, approximately 1200. So it should is for threshold for graduating out. And if you want to graduate out only on this, it should be double of 1200 only. So, but not much important, only idea is sufficient. And any country has graduated out. About I think 2 or 3 countries have graduated out since then. 2 or 3 countries have graduated out from LDC criteria. Okay, so these are LDCs. So how many countries are LDCs? 47. And how many are developed? And all others developing countries. So as such, there is no specific definition for LDC practically. So the countries which are neither this nor this, they are developing or underdeveloped countries. But better term is developing countries, especially for India, because means we are one of the fast growing economy. So it is better to say developing, but although these terms are used interchangeably. Okay, so this is 47 LDC, 58 developed countries, and all others are developed. So practically this is used. Okay, so this is classification of countries. Now next in this chapter, we will we have discussed growth. First topic, we have discussed concepts of growth and development. Second, we have discussed indicators, how we measure actually economic development, where India stands in various indices. Okay, and now third section actually is determinants of economic development. Determinants of economic development. So determinants of economic development. So economic development obviously depends on economic factors, but does it also depends on social factors, non-economic factors? Yes or no? Yes. So economic development depends on various factors like economic as well as non-economic. So okay, first we'll see the economic factors. Economic development of a country depends on economic factors. Economic factors like most important one is capital formation. So I'll give you general idea. It's a very simple topic. So capital formation. So capital formation means machinery factory, or when we establish new factory means we are increasing the stock of capital, and more factories means more production, more employment. So it is important for development or not? Yes. So I will discuss in detail in saving investment. There is a lot of issues actually on saving investment, capital formation now. So it's a long topic. Separately I will discuss. Other is economic system. Economic system. So development depends on economic system also. Can you give me example of any economic system? Like capitalist economy or socialist economy? Okay, so this also a separately I will discuss. Capitalist, socialist, like we will discuss in India. If we are capitalist, socialist, mixed economy. So we'll discuss actually in detail what is mixed economy, features, policies actually in India, their outcomes in Indian economy. Next chapter I will discuss in detail. Other is economic policy. Economic policy, is it wider or narrower than this? Than system? Which is broader, policy or system? System. Policy is within the framework of system. For example, in India, had we changed the economic system? No, we were a mixed economy from independence till now. But what we changed? We had made a significant change in policy in 1991, and after that there was some impact on growth. Yes, then we became one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Productivity increased. So policy is within the system actually. So we changed policy, and there was impact. Other is structure of an economy. So structure of an economy. structure means actually, share of various sectors like agriculture, industry, services. So with development, what happens? Share of agriculture increases, decreases. Decreases in GDP and employment, and other sectors increases. Okay, so structure I will again give you data actually how structure transformation in terms of agriculture, in terms of employment and GDP. So in Indian economy, I will give you data, okay, how transformation is taking place in this structure. Other factors are can we say natural resources? So natural resources. So natural resources are much important or not? Yes or no? Yes, natural resources are supposed to be very important. Although in some books they have mentioned in non-economic factors, somewhere they have mentioned economic, non-economic, and natural resources. So natural resources are supposed to be very important factors. So practically, is it so? Natural resources are really very important. If you see in the world now, in economic survey 2 years back, there was one analysis on resources and the level of development. If you see in the entire world, the regions or countries which are more resources, relatively they are more backward. And even in India also, the regions which are more resource rich, like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, etc., they are actually more backward. So in economic survey, they have used the word resource curse. Okay. Actually, those regions which have better, more resources, they are more backward in general. So resource curse word is used. So probably, I think earlier, maybe 100 years back, this may be a very important factor. And in most of the books, economic books, the most important emphasis is on this. Emphasis on this. Even there are some trade theories, various theories based on resources as such. So probably initial phases earlier, actually 100 200 years back, this may till that time it might have played a role, but now situation is entirely different. So the means what may be reason for that? Okay, why the regions which are having more resources, why they are backward? What may be reason? They may rather become somewhat narrow. This may be one reason. Why? Why resources? Actually, reason maybe I think complacent. Like people, the regions which have resources, they may be complacent. We are developed relatively, we have these resources. So once actually, people would not be working hard. They will not be means putting much effort. So obviously, level of development cannot sustain. Maybe this reason, but practically, I think this is very important reason. So they have not given any specific reason for that, but this is actually a fact. In entire world and India, this thing is able. So resources actually right now is not playing a very important role in development in general. And a lot of countries actually which are, they don't have much resources, they are much developed also. Okay, like Japan and other countries also. So ultimately, development more important is the effort of people, rational thinking effort actually is more important. Okay, and a lot of other factors like global factors, level of technology, specialization, etc. Okay, now non-economic factors. Non-economic factors, one is socio-cultural factors. Can you give me any example of socio-cultural factors which affect development? Any example? Gender disparity, yes. Other? Hmm? Hmm? Tribals, like this, some, or rather caste system. So means caste, even living habits, actually clothing, food habits may affect development. So caste system is like one detriment actually in development process, or discrimination against women is a detriment. So socio-cultural factors affect development. Other is religious factors. Religious factors like very important powerful factor is fatalism. Fatalism is belief in fate. So fatalism actually, what happens? Fatalism discourages development. How? People actually they get excuse what I can do. It was not the will of God, because it is said that before time and beyond fate nobody gets anything. So if it is written in your fate you have to be a civil servant, then you will become, whether you study or not, whether you appear in exam or not. And if it is not written, you can do anything, nothing will happen. So because beyond fate, nobody has ever got beyond fate or before time. So ultimately, why you are putting so hard? If it is written, you have to become. If it is not written unnecessary, why you are taking bothering this? So this give actually excuse to what I did my best, but God did not want it. So this give excuse to people. Fatalism is a very powerful force which retard development. It give excuse to people कि what I can do. I think so people just जो होगा किस्मत में मिल जाएगा हो जाएगा. So God actually is directing. Other even some other factors like concept of moksha. If you be behind Momaya, you will never get moksha. So you have to be far from Momaya. Only then actually you will get moksha. It means the best thing is to die and don't come back here. So otherwise you will again come here. So it is better to not die as early as possible and don't come back. Okay, so lot of factors are there. Some misinterpretations are there. Like even terrorism is by and large based on this. So they think it is very good thing they are killing people. So some people think they will go to Jannat after killing people. Some people think they will become Rashbhakt by killing people. So different people have different versions. Simply distortion actually. Although most of the religions have humanity, but people distort to much wider level. Other is psychological factors. Even some superstitions are created because of religious factors. Psychological factors. The most important factor is psychological factor. That is urge to develop. Everything starts from the urge. So if people have higher urge to develop, so obviously they will be having more motivation, put effort, and at least will get something. And even some people have very low level aspirations. Some people even they prepare for competitive exam, maybe for clerical exam only. So if they are preparing for clerical exam, what they will become? If they will be successful. They will become clerk. So actually, level of aspiration is very important. And I think ultimately, if you have will, everything could be created. Like Japan, etc., the countries which did because of their effort and rational thinking. Other is these are all interrelated also. Other is political factors. Political factors like type of government, democracy or dictatorship, level of decentralization, political stability. Even Professor Amanta Kumar Singh's studies have shown that decentralization and democracy is effective in enhancing level of well-being. So the countries where relatively the level of democracy is better, decentralization is more, the countries have actually have better level of development. So means political factors also affect development. And even political instability may be there. The investors may be apprehensive, they will withdraw investment, etc. Okay, so political factors. Other is demographic factors. Demographic factors. So demography means it is related with characteristics of population. So example demographic factor is labor force. Okay, so on demography, labor force is a part of demography. How much people are in working age group, how many are actually working, and what is their status of education, health, etc. So demographic factors also affect development, like especially labor force. So and etc. Even natural factors, environmental factors, lot of factors are there which affect development. So I just give you a broad idea about it does not depend only on economic factors, it also depends on non-economic factors. Okay, then next section we will discuss actually the saving, investment, capital formation and issues. Okay, and tomorrow, but there is regarding class tomorrow because it's Friday, so we cannot continue beyond 1. So maybe okay, that we will inform actually.